Hi, I'm Chris Rodenheiser, and we're here on the beautiful campus of California State University, Long Beach, for another episode of Beach Time, an ongoing series designed to inform you, the viewer, of the many exciting and interesting things that are happening on the campus on a regular basis. And today is no exception. Today we're featuring what I consider to be one of the best kept secrets in Long Beach. A little tiny radio station that's been spinning quality jazz for almost 30 years in the Southland. We're going to go inside today and learn more about this station, KJazz, by the way, 88.1 on your FM dial. 30 years of service in Long Beach. So we're going to go inside, talk to some of the DJs, learn a little bit more about jazz, learn about the station's programming, how a radio station operates, and just get all the information. Who knows what we'll come up with when we start talking to people. So let's go inside. You're invited too, and we'll find out all about this radio station.
On KJazz, the music of Matt Ray, Lost in New York is the name of that CD, and we heard his versions of The Making of You, actually The Makings of You, which is a tune written by Curtis Mayfield. Matt plays piano, joined by Quentin Davis on the drums and Danton Butler on drums. And before that, something we introduced as a brand new CD, of course it is, At Last, from vocalist Ann Hampton Calloway. We heard the title track, and she is joined by Ted Rosenthal on piano, Jay Leonard on bass, Victor Lewis drums, and Teodros Avery played the tenor saxophone. At Last, a new CD by Ann Hampton Calloway. This is KJazz, KJZZ Long Beach 88.1. It's a service of California State University Long Beach, member-supported KJazz.
Well, I have the fortune here of sitting with Stephanie Levine, who is the station manager for KJazz. Stephanie, thank you for talking with us today. First thing I'd like to know is what a station manager does for a radio station.
Station manager really means that you are overseeing the day-to-day operations of the station. So I work with everyone from our programming department, that's all the DJs, our operations manager and the board operators, to our development department, which oversees fundraising activities for the station, marketing and promotions, underwriting, and community outreach.
Wow, that's quite a task. So how much time do you actually, you're not based here at the station exclusively though, there's other stations that you oversee?
I only oversee KJazz. I'm the station manager for KJazz. I am general counsel for the station as well, and we have several other stations that my family operates, and I'm general counsel for those stations. It's KKGO 105.1 FM and KGIL 1260 AM.
Okay, so your family's involved. Is that Global Jazz? Is that?
Global Jazz is the company that runs KJazz for the Cal State Long Beach Foundation, and then Mount Wilson FM Broadcasters runs KKGO and KGIL.
I had no idea it was so complicated. You know, we just think, okay, there's a station on campus and they play jazz music, and we just think it's that simple. But it's actually listener supported. So, you know, it's not a commercial radio station, so you don't get a lot of corporate sponsors or advertisers. It's really, how much of it is supported by listeners?
At this point, about 90% of our operations, that's our operating budget, is supported by the community. So we are very appreciative of the people out there, and of course the organizations that take the time to really support the station with both their time as far as volunteering and especially their financial contributions. That's what keeps the station going.
Wow, so when you hear those pledge drives, we shouldn't change the station, we should probably listen and donate.
Well, at least certainly listen and donate, and if you can't donate a lot, that's okay. We want everyone to just realize that it's a group effort, and as long as people are donating what is comfortable for them, we really appreciate that, and that goes a very long way. If everyone that listened contributed what was comfortable, we would have a lot of financial security, and we'd be able to do so much more than we're able to now, but we're not at that point yet.
So your efforts in marketing are to get to that point?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. We would love to one day be able to put on more free concerts in the community and support more educational groups who are really trying to start kids very early, exposing them to the music, finding the musicians, and offering them music classes. We're able to do that to some extent now, but we'd like to really expand that, and we can only do that when we have more operating money.
Stephanie, since the campus is kind of the host for the radio station, talk to us a little bit about the relationship you have with the university and the students.
Well, we have a wonderful relationship. The Cal State Long Beach Foundation actually is the licensee, so everything we do really is under their direction, and we have a wonderful relationship with multiple groups on campus, in particular the Jazz Studies program. Jeff Jarvis does a wonderful job with the Jazz Studies program. We actually have 4 scholarships that we give out each year to jazz musicians to be able to come here to Cal State Long Beach, and we're very proud of them. They just had their final concert this past Friday night, and it was wonderful. Helen Borgers was there, and she told me it was just outstanding.
So Stephanie, you know, when I introed the show, I said it's really kind of the best kept secret in Long Beach, this radio station. And one of the reasons is that it really, from what I understand, out of all the radio stations in the country, there's only a handful in the whole country that spin or play jazz 24/7. And this is one of them, which is amazing. Talk to me about that. Why do more stations not do that?
Well, unfortunately, it's not as profitable as most formats. One of the most profitable formats as a non-commercial station is to offer news. But there's so much news out there, and as I talked before about responsibility, we feel that there's a real responsibility to the community and really to this country to keep this music going. It's a true American art form.
That's absolutely.
And there's nothing like it. It's so important that we keep this going, not just to preserve it, but to go forward with helping new artists get exposed and get out there and to build an audience for them. We're the #1 full-time jazz station in the country. There are only 5 of them left. We're one of 5, which is just incredible.
It's almost sad. I mean, it's great
sad
that you're doing it, but it's almost sad that it's not, since it is an American-born genre of music, it should be really just part of who we are, our culture. Hey, I am so fortunate to be talking to Bubba Jackson, who's one of the on-air disc jockeys, or jocks as they're called around here. And Bubba, you have an extensive knowledge of jazz music and a long history, starting back from, the way I understand it, your mom, who influenced your
my musical taste?
Your musical taste. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, you know, moms are very important in the development of any kid. But with my mom, you know, it's like I got up in the morning and all I heard was music. I didn't study to be a musician or anything like that. I wanted to be an accountant. How I got in this business, that's a whole new story. But Mom, her thing was rhythm and blues, gospel music, and so I had to listen to this every day. So as a kid, you know, that's not what I'm interested in. You know, I'm trying to find out what my other kids are listening to. So we're doing doo-wop, and the rest is good stuff. And when R&B and James Brown came around, I mean, I had a little bit of that, but I grew up actually on Latin music, because I had 2 older brothers who were totally into jazz. They were older than me. They said, "You want to be cool?" I don't want to be cool. I'm 15 years old. Why do I want to be cool? So I got into calypso music, Afro-Cuban music, Puerto Rican music, Cuban, I mean, the whole 9 yards. And that was my background. In addition to listening to all this gospel and R&B that my mom played. Like, for example, her favorite song was Ray Charles' "Drowning My Own Tears." I swore if I ever heard that song again, I would die. You know, because we grew up with what's called a Philco. And that's one where you lift, a lot of people probably don't know what this is, but you lift the arm up, turn it over to the right, and it repeats itself over and over again. Mom liked that song. We didn't like that song. And now, I play it all the time, and I love it, because Mama's always right.
Yeah.
I'm just, as a boy, I'm a little slow.
So now you talked a lot about different types of music. Are these all genres within the jazz umbrella?
I put it in within the umbrella in terms of the Afro-Cuban music, because really they come from the same source. Like, for example, if you listen to Cuban music and you're listening to Duke Ellington and Count Basie, there are strong elements because of the slave trade. When they were coming over, some Africans dropped off in Cuba, some dropped off in New Orleans or further up the coast. Well, it came from the same place. But the two musics developed, and essentially they had the same source, which was Mother Earth. And so the Afro jazz, Afro-Cuban jazz, Puerto Rican music, it all had that same flavor. And if you look at New Orleans has it all right there, because it has that Caribbean influence, it has the jazz influence, and jazz was born right there. You know, so it's all of those influences right there. So it made a lot of sense. And so now it's mushroomed into this incredible array of music that's accessible to just about everybody.
Now this is fascinating, but it's also a little bit overwhelming for the non-jazz aficionado, you know? It's like, so what do you recommend for somebody who's kind of interested in exploring jazz but not becoming, you know, walking into a record store and just going, where do I start?
You know, it's funny you asked that question. I just got through teaching a class at UCLA, the Osher Center, and this is their extension course. And the very questions you asked me was what I was teaching, how to get into jazz. And I used 2 record labels in order to do that. Blue Note Records, which was found by 2 German immigrants in 1939, and Impulse Records, which was got off the ground really funny, but the man who really put it on the ground was Creed Taylor. So if you watch and get these 2 labels and get music from both of them, most of the artists that, to me, lay down the foundation of jazz are on those labels. Everybody is on those. John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, and it gives you a real template to work with. And if you start from there, you notice that, oh, I know who this producer is. Let me see what else he's doing or what else she is doing. And then you see some of the players play all the different labels. And so you really began to get a chance to explore the music. The young guys and the young women who are coming out today, that's what they studied when they were in school.
Now, how does blues fit in? Because I know you kind of have a passion for blues music. And so how does that fit into the big jazz picture?
You know, I heard an interview with Miles Davis one day, and he was saying that in order to get in my band, you needed to play the blues. So cats would come in, especially guitarists, you know, and start doing some Jimi Hendrix. And he'd look at him and go like, no, man, I want you to play some blues. And they had to stop and think about what he was talking about. And really, essence of jazz is blues. It's right there. And you can take that 12 bar or 8 bar and go everywhere you want to. You can build on top of that. And that's exactly what jazz people are doing. And I love the blues because it really speaks about what music is. Music is something that touches your heart, your mind, and your soul. You go to a concert and people say, blues is sad, and somebody start playing the blues, the whole place goes bananas.
It's true.
I mean, on this campus.
Oh, a blues
I mean,
festival.
for 28 years. The first time I went to a blues festival was on this campus. I didn't even know about the station. I was working for another station in Los Angeles. Man, I saw those people dancing. It was 10,000 people shaking there. You know what? I said, if this is sad, I'm going to be very unhappy. Okay, because that's what I want.
Oh, that's classic.
And so the blues and the jazz, they're really like peas and carrots.
Yeah.
To me, when I program music, I mix the blues in with the jazz because it's like peas without carrots. It's like, you know, eggs and bacon. You got eggs, but where's
the bacon?
Yeah. So I mix the two, and it makes sense. And then from my background, coming from New York, I always include Latin jazz because I grew up on that. That's my heart. That's my soul. You know, it's funny. I feel like a kid in a candy store because there are so many opportunities to sweeten your tooth. You come and you go like, now where am I going to go? And you find a way. You find one CD and you start building on that particular one. My treasure are the LPs because there's music on the LPs you will not find on a CD. And I start grabbing those LPs because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
You know, and there's things on there you just can't find. Like one of my favorites is Joe Williams. And he sings this one particular tune, Billy Joel's composition, I Love You Just the Way You Are. It's not on a CD. It was on his own label. It never made it to a CD. When he gets through with that song, I just want to be in love. And so that's the kind of music you'll find in here. Like we have a young man in here, not here, but he's one of our well-known jazz artists. He's a pianist. The first time I heard him, he was on an album with Woody Herman playing some Chicago down-home rot gut blues. His name is Alan Broadbent. And I've been asking him for years. I said, can you just do that one more time? No, Bubba, I just can't. Alan, you really need to do that. And he was just a kid hanging out with Woody Herman in his band. You find those treasures on the LPs. So when you come into this library, you go like, okay, I have a choice to be happy or be threatened. I'm just thrilled.
And you get to pick what you play.
Yeah, this radio station in this format, we are an anomaly when you talk about radio DJs. Every one of us is a program director. When you as a listener listen to us for 24 hours, you hear 24 separate hours of music, not coming from the same source. Everybody has a different flavor when they come to it. So if you go through the whole 24 hours, if there's 6 people on, you got 6 different flavors of the music, including jazz and the Latin side, which is extraordinary. So, because we're the only radio station in the country that has a primetime Latin jazz show. Jose Rizzo is a godsend. That separates us from everybody else, that and the blues.
So we're here with Duncan Brode, who's the station engineer, broadcast engineer. Is that correct? Is that the correct title?
That's correct.
What happens, because I know it broadcasts 24 hours a day and you're not always here, so how does that work?
Well, we have a broadcast computer, which allows us to be able to have some recorded programming playing for the overnights and stuff. That's usually how it goes with the broadcast computer, which is a common tool in most radio stations, actually. So.
But you've been known to get a call outside of your regular workday, haven't you?
Correct. I am on top of a normal 40-hour work week. I have the responsibility of being on call in case there are any off-air urgent emergencies. I can be down here very quickly to look into the issue and make changes so that if we are off the air, the response time to getting back on the air is minimized. This is it actually has 2 or 3 possible functions. It could be a mix room for live content that comes from that window if we did some live jazz in there. This could be the mix studio for that, which would then provide a stereo mix to our broadcast control room. The other thing this room is used for is for interviews. We've done ISDNs in here, which is a form of connecting this room to, let's say, anywhere else in the country with a very high-fidelity circuit that doesn't make it sound like you're thousands of miles away. That's happened quite a bit. Also, this could be a backup studio as well. So we could actually, with the raise of a control in there, a fader, could bring this room live and broadcast out of here and play music. We have a microphone here for the jock and all the things that are necessary to go on the air. So that's also...
So kind of like the multi-purpose room.
Yeah, well, and it's good to have that in a radio station because the one thing you learn when you get into the technical side of an operation that's 24 hours a day and can't be interrupted is redundancy, which is having another of everything, another studio, another broadcast processor, a second transmitter, secondary communications equipment, backup power supplies so that when we go dark, for example, our main control room has a nice feature. We have the necessary equipment on a battery-operated power supply, so we can buy 20, 30 minutes of time should there be an outage. We are in an agreement with the City of Long Beach to be an emergency communications channel for them so that if we had an event that didn't actually take us off the air and we could still broadcast, we could field a phone call from them, for example, with something we would write down off of their phone call verbally and be able to turn that around to air immediately if there was a message directed at the City of Long Beach.
What's the range? I mean, like how far out can we broadcast from this station?
Well,
how's that work?
Our transmitter's in Signal Hill, and our broadcast signal approximately is from... Oh, geez. Our contour is probably down as far as, I'm trying to think, Dana Point, somewhere in that area,
oh, wow.
Orange County. I would say the far-reaching edges of Orange County to the south and the east, and as far north as the northern part of the San Fernando Valley.
Wow, that's quite a range. Has it always been that? Because I was under the understanding it kind of increased in its
It did. It did. We were at a lower power level, and several years ago we got a grant from the FCC to increase our power level, which allowed us to have a little bit better coverage.
I'm here with Andrew Loyola. Andrew, I understand that you wear many hats around here. What is your official title?
My official title is associate, but the favorite hat I like to wear is the Jazz on the Land side hat, which allows me to produce track shows for the jocks when they take vacations and days off, things like that.
So what does that mean when you produce shows? We hear that term a lot in radio and television and movies, the producer. What does a producer do?
Well, basically we just get down to the nitty-gritty, you know, get the CDs, audio tracks ready for air and ready for the audiences out there.
So you pick the music, or do the
jocks
DJs?
pick the music. We always let them get their creative flow going, and then I get in here and just put the music bed underneath it, right, so it sounds like really sexy when you listen to it, you know.
What's a music bed?
Music underneath the jock talking.
Oh, okay. So when they're kind of doing their talk, you kind of. So you do all that. Look at me pretending I'm a DJ.
Right.
Work at a club. So you guys do all that. The producers do that, or you pick the music that
At certain underwriting spots, they allow me the privilege to choose music that fits well with the spot. You know, everything context. It can't be like some Dr. Dre or anything like that, too outrageous, but something that fits well with the spot.
Yeah, when you're sensitive to that,
oh yeah,
you work here.
Definitely.
Yeah. What other things do you do for the station?
I do what they call is traffic, which isn't announcing when you're stuck in traffic. It's actually the placement of commercial logs on the program schedule for the jocks to read. And I also use this to produce spots for the jocks, which allows them to see in the future without a magic time machine to see what commercials they have to read when they take a day off.
Okay. So are you're actually working with the advertisers that want to air
No,
spot
that's
time?
that would be our man, Kane Biscaya. I want to give him a shout out over there in Mount Wilson Broadcasting. But him and a few other staff members help out with that, raise money for the station.
So let me ask you, how did you get involved in this business? Were you a student here? Were you a broadcast journalism kind of person? Or?
Okay, well, you hit the mark there. I'm a journalism major. Shout out to SPJ out there. I was president of that organization, and you know, I was putting on events for the campus, and one of the people I wanted to invite was KJazz back in, I think, 06, 07. I would say that the pressure of this job is all the deadlines. Like, you know, this show I'm producing currently has to air at 5 o'clock, so I have to get in here early enough to be able to do the traffic job and anything else I have to do, take care of the office. And, like, my phone's ringing off the hook, so that would...
Let's see it.
Well, hey, can I call you back? I'm doing an interview right now. All right, thank you. Things like that.
How did you know it wasn't a real call instead of a
Well, then
front?
they would have called me on my cell phone. That's how they really get a hold of me.
Well, who was that?
That was our front desk person, Nisha. She's our office manager.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So maybe, Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what you do on these monitors?
Well, this is Pro Tools right here, and what this allows us to do is grab the jock's audio track and place it into, their waveform, place it into the audio track, and edit, put the music bed and everything like that. And this right here is a new system we got. It's called Audio Vault, which allows us to kind of automate stuff. Sorry for all you jocks out there looking for a job, but this allows us to...
Puts jocks out of work.
Right, basically. But it's a really great program because it allows us freedom to say we got a really big party we got to go to, everyone has to go to, or something like an event, for instance. You know, the jock will be able to come in here and voice some tracks. I'll come in here and put the music he wants and hit play. And pretty much
music's on, but nobody's home.
Right, the monkey's playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So if you just decided to walk out of here one day, would they just be in shambles? Come on, toot your horn.
I mean, there's people in West LA in our corporate office that could come down here in a pickle if needed, but I like to say that I hold it down here. Okay. I'm the glue. I hope so.
All right, man. Well, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Saxophone, Warren Gill played the trumpet. The trombone was played by Dick Shearer.
I don't want to talk about this thing. My broadcast.
You're listening to KJazz, and that's Stan Kenton talking about his orchestra. This is taken from a disc entitled Stan Kenton and His Orchestra Live at Redlands University. We heard their take on Hey Jude, and I figured I'd let Stan introduce the band. I think that's a nice thing to do. 1137, Brad Williams here, and we are coming to you from the wonderful, beautiful campus of California State University, Long Beach, at 88.1 KJazz, and if you're streaming us online, it's jazzandblues.org. We'd like to congratulate at this juncture Stephen Claps of Malibu, who called in and picked up those tickets to see Poncho Sanchez. Poncho's going to be appearing at the Conga Room at the new LA Live in downtown Los Angeles on May 15th. Once again, our congratulations go out to Stephen Claps of Malibu. Right now, some brand new music from Miss Ann Hampton Calloway. She's got a new CD out called At Last, and this is a wonderful, wonderful version, and you need to check it out on KJazz.
You sound like a DJ.
Isn't that wild how that happens? My friends, of which Bubba is one. I've known Bubba for, well, I don't know, 22 years or something like that. We met at another radio station a long time ago in the 80s. And he's always commenting on the fact that how I am when I'm around everybody around here, when I'm around my friends, I'm like a completely different person on the air. It's like, man, you sound so measured, but you know, everybody really needs to know how crazy you are. And I said, Bubba, I'm not giving it up, man. I'm not gonna let everybody know something.
That's why I'm in radio. I got this mystique about me.
No, I'm not gonna let everybody know. And you know, and yeah, maybe I am a little crazy, but I'm not gonna let that come out. At least I'm gonna try not to let that come out over the years.
You know, I don't personally do a lot of talking. I went to the Shut Up and Play the Music School of Broadcasting.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, even before I got into radio, the biggest complaint I heard from people about, you know, radio stations or radio DJs was, man, that guy plays some good music, but he just talks too much. Heard it, you know, got it. When we're out, we talk to people, people come up to us, and we encourage them to do that. And so that's one of the things that you kind of look for. If people are coming up to you and they're saying, hey, man, we like, you know, what we're hearing. That's, you know, that's instant gratification. Plus, people can and often do go on the website. They can email any of us. Not only with comments about what they like and what they don't like. I'll have to admit, I've had a couple of my listeners email me and say things like, hey, man, there's this song by, you know, one artist. Hang on.
Yeah, I want a dead time.
No, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. A listener emailed me and asked me was I familiar with a particular record, and I hadn't been familiar with it. I looked in the library. We didn't have it. So he said, man, this is a good record. So I bought it, and I came back in here and listened to it, and he was right.
This is a challenge that we have. How do you keep your main audience, which is really the dedicated listener, while still attracting new people, whether they're younger or older? Age doesn't matter. It's about keeping the music going. And so I think you do that by really programming a range of music from classics to new, just to keep it interesting, which is something we do. We have Jazz Masters of the Week. That's to make sure we're always playing the classics and educating the audience. And then we're also playing new releases all the time. That's very important for us. So that's one way to attract the new and maintain the old. And not old in age, but just the dedicated long-time listener.
Well, that about wraps up another episode of Beach Time. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot about jazz that you maybe didn't already know about, and more importantly about the importance of supporting the station, because it is community-supported, listener-supported station. And as you heard, the more we support the station, the more it can give back to the community. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beach Time, and I'm Chris Rodenheiser, and I look forward to seeing you back on another episode really soon.